All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever tossed a chocolate bar into your grocery cart or snacked on some popcorn during a movie, well, you've likely contributed to one of the most fascinating consumer empires on the planet, the Hershey Company. Today, we're going to unpack the anatomy of this absolute giant. We'll trace its path from a simple cocoa bean all the way to a massive global enterprise, and even peek ahead to a pretty sci-fi lab-grown future. Okay, let's dive in.
To really wrap your head around their massive scale, just think about this staggering number: $30 billion. Back in 1928, Hershey made what is arguably one of the greatest corporate purchases in history. They bought Reese's Peanut Butter Cups for just $23.5 million. Fast forward to today, and that single brand, just the Reese's piece of the whole pie, is estimated to be worth over $30 billion all by itself. It's the #1 selling candy in the U.S., pulling in over $2.4 billion in sales alone. Talk about a brilliant acquisition that completely changed the trajectory of a company, right?
Section 1. Inside the Hershey Empire. Let's take a look under the hood and see what this $35.4 billion juggernaut actually looks like today, beyond those familiar chocolate bars. Structurally, their core business is split up into 3 distinct pillars. First, there's North American confectionery. That's your classic chocolate, non-chocolate candy, gum, and even protein bars. Second is the rapidly growing North American salty snacks division, which includes hugely popular brands like Skinny Pop and Dots Pretzels. And finally, there's their international segment, zeroing in on major growth markets like Mexico, Brazil, India, and Malaysia. So they really aren't just a chocolate factory anymore, they're a highly diversified snacking empire.
When we look at the global confectionery market by revenue, Hershey is firmly holding its own as the #4 company in the world, generating nearly $11.7 billion in trailing 12-month revenue. Now, they are trailing behind colossal, mostly privately held giants like Mars at $45 billion, Mondelez at $36 billion, and Ferrero at $18 billion. But remember, while they might be #4 globally, their dominance and market concentration just within the United States is absolutely staggering.
Section 2. A century of sweet growth. How exactly does a company built on 99-cent candy bars reach a $35 billion market cap?
Well, this massive empire didn't spring up overnight. It was built over a 130-year journey. The whole thing starts way back in 1894 when Milton Hershey founded the original chocolate company. He even built an entire company town in Pennsylvania by 1905. Then we hit that legendary 1928 Reese's acquisition we just talked about. Fast forward a few decades through their national TV expansions, and you landed 2016. This was a massive pivot year. They acquired Amplify snack brands, the folks who make Skinny Pop, officially launching them into the salty snack space. And that brings us to today, 2026, where despite some market volatility, they stand as a financial powerhouse, hovering around a $35.4 billion market cap.
Section 3. The Candy Money Machine. Let's break down their actual profit engine and see exactly how they make their money today.
Think about your own candy buying habits for just a second. It's wild, but a whopping 40% of Hershey's total sales come from just 3 distinct seasons: Halloween, Easter, and Christmas. It really highlights how heavily reliant their financial machine is on our cultural and seasonal traditions. Basically, they own the holidays. The remaining 60% has to cover the entire rest of the year, which just goes to show the massive volume spikes they have to flawlessly execute every single holiday season.
But they aren't just coasting on holidays. Their profit engine runs on 4 really distinct advantages. First, they have an incredibly powerful portfolio. As we noted, Reese's is the #1 candy in the U.S., and classic Hershey's milk chocolate sits comfortably at #4. Second, they're largely recession-proof. Even when the economy tanks, people are still going to buy affordable luxuries like candy and popcorn. Third is that seasonal dominance we just talked about. And finally, they maintain incredible margins. We are talking about gross margins consistently sitting between 33% and 35% and operating margins over 12%. That means a huge chunk of every single dollar you spend on their candy goes straight to their bottom line.
Look, because they're a 130-year-old company, they aren't going to behave like some hypergrowth tech stock. And honestly, they aren't trying to. Instead, they operate as an incredibly reliable dividend machine, currently offering a very steady dividend yield of around 3.15%. And that yield is backed by serious pricing power. If inflation hits, they can slightly raise the price of a candy bar. And you know what? Consumers are still going to buy it. It makes them a slow-growth, high-margin consumer staple that investors just love for their stability.
Section 4. The Future of Chocolate. As we look ahead to the next 5 to 20 years, this industry is facing some unprecedented changes. If we just look at the next 5 years, Analysts are actually quite optimistic. Driven by the aggressive expansion of those salty snacks, growth in international markets, and some really cool AI-driven flavor innovations, plus a push into better-for-you, zero-sugar options, analysts predict revenue could jump from $11.7 billion today to $15 billion by 2031. If they hit that mark and keep those margins intact, their market cap could easily climb to $45 or even $55 billion. There's a lot of upside here if they execute their snack strategy perfectly.
But let's look a little further ahead to 2035. We're staring down a fascinating and frankly necessary technological shift. Traditional chocolate is incredibly vulnerable right now. It's facing severe cocoa price inflation, the looming threat of global sugar taxes, and rapidly shifting consumer health trends. But right on the horizon is lab-grown chocolate. By 2035, emerging lab-grown cocoa alternatives could actually cut their production costs by 30%. That wouldn't just solve their supply chain and inflation nightmares, it would massively expand those already impressive profit margins.
And the innovation definitely doesn't stop at just the ingredients. Imagine a near future where Hershey uses artificial intelligence to design a Reese's cup specifically tailored to your individual DNA or your unique dietary needs. They could deliver this personalized, healthier snack directly to your front door through a subscription model. That would completely bypass the traditional grocery store aisle and create a direct, highly customized relationship with you, the consumer. How crazy is that?
So if we take a massive leap and check back in on this company in the year 2125, current trends point to 3 pretty wild yet totally plausible scenarios. Version 1. They become the Berkshire of candy, essentially a massive $200 billion conglomerate seamlessly owning chocolate, salty snacks, and health brands. Version 2. They become a niche heritage brand, ultimately getting acquired by one of their massive rivals like Mars or Mondelez for around $70 billion. Or version 3, the regulated scenario, where global sugar taxes force a complete pivot away from traditional candy entirely, moving into protein and health foods while maintaining a $50 billion valuation.
Ultimately, whether they hit a $100 billion valuation by 2046, get broken up, or face massive industry disruptions, they're never going to be the next trillion-dollar tech stock. They are a consumer staple, but their pricing power and brand loyalty are practically unmatched. So the real, provocative question we want to leave you with today is this. As technology propels us forward and our food systems radically change, will we still be eating a Reese's peanut butter cup when we finally make it to Mars?